Hey y'all, welcome back to Homestead. My selfie light's still messed up, so I'm filming at the dark dining room table. So you can see a bowl in the camera. Welcome back to the channel. So I have had a request to do a series on going off the rails for prepping in case things go off the rails. So this is what I'm going to do. This is part 2 today, and I think it's the perfect time, okay, to talk about this. Now, let me say, I'm not a bug out bag type prepper. I'm just your average Joe trying to sit here and tell you what we do to prep. Okay. I wish we were more prepared. That's one reason I do these videos. I like hearing from you guys. I like to inspire you guys. I still think we're better off than most because most people don't really prepare. And what I mean by that is a lot of people don't keep, spare flashlights and batteries, or they can't find their batteries for their flashlights, stuff like that. So I'm just trying to be an inspiration to people and help them out. But things keep getting more and more off the rails, like the person said. So let's talk about it. So today, you turn on the news, the headlines are the stock market is not doing too well over here in the U.S. It has taken a turn today. It may be great Monday. Who knows? It may be terrible. But the main thing is they put up a headline, recession fear looms. I'm not an economic advisor, but I'm just going to tell you this. I don't care what you call it. Recession, depression, whether it's done happened, whether it's going to happen, whatever. The whole point is prices have been high for the last several years. They just keep getting higher. Look, all down through history, a can of Coca-Cola costs more now than it did in 1970. Okay, the prices of stuff's going to keep going up no matter what. So how do you adapt to this? Now, you can also say wages have went up. Yes, 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 yes. But you've got to look at the ratio. What are your groceries costing now compared to what you make compared to what they did and what you make? Are you getting raises? That's a huge thing from where you work. So I am a housewife, homesteader full-time. I do not work. I come home from working 1 full-time job, 2 part-time jobs, home. My husband works full-time. I am not giving economic advice. What I am giving is just a detailed portrait of how we run things in case there is an economic collapse. There is nothing I'm doing today any different than what I did 2 years ago. How I come home is because A, I had no debt. B, few bills, only necessities. C, I had things set up here. And what I mean by set up, I made sure my gardens were in place. We grow our own food. I made sure I had animals. I made sure I had an ace in the hole. I had all of this stuff going. That's like our YouTube channel. It's monetized. It's a very small amount, but it's still income coming in. I had all of this set up before I left work and come home. A lot of people leave work, go straight home. It's a total wake-up call when they get home. Now, we were not monetized when I come home, but I knew I was heading in that direction, and everything was all clear. Now, I'm in a position where if I would like to go back to work tomorrow, I have the type of career where I could. You need a trade, a skill, things like that. That's very, very good to have instead of just say a freelance artist might be harder than somebody that has a trade. Okay. So that's what we did. We have, again, no debt. If you guys have followed me, I am moving. My husband's moving with me, of course. We are moving. I am still in no debt. My husband is in no debt. The house I live in now is very old, very, very old. It's a hand-me-down house. I renovated it. It served its purpose. It's good. The next one we're moving into, no debt. Okay? It's an older home, a lot newer than this one, but what we're doing is renovating it a little along the way by hand ourselves, not hiring this out, paying with cash. That's how we're avoiding staying in debt. Now, the beautiful thing is my husband is able to do a lot of this on his own. I could not do it. So I'm not judging anybody. I would never be able to do this stuff. I can't even change a light fixture. I need to become more sustainable that way. Hey, girl, prep, okay? You need to learn how to do this stuff. And women, take note about that. I'm telling you now, I need to learn how to do this stuff, so does he. Because I've seen so many situations where the husband would be removed out of the picture, whether by divorce, by death, whatever, and the woman cannot function. We need to do better. Do you know, I don't know where, well, y'all probably watching me live in the city. But if you live out in the country, do you know how to cut the water off at the road? Okay, at the meter. If you live out in the country, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Women have to face this stuff. Now, if you've got male children that are grown, that know how to do this, brothers, uncles, whoever, if you've got a large family that can help you, you're probably better off than somebody like me. See, I'm an only child, and I'm out here, by myself. So this is, I depend on my husband a lot. The whole point, I'm not even going down that rabbit hole. You need to prepare for that kind of stuff, though. And men, too, if you don't know those skills, that's like my father. He can do anything with metal he wants to, but he can change the light fixture, but it's colorful. So, people have their niches. Like a plumber can do well with electricity. And we've talked about this stuff before, too. You need to be a jack of all trades and a master of none, okay? Electricity is the one thing I would not advise for beginners just to try to fool with, okay? That, it's different than changing a toilet flange, okay? So you need to look at your finances and see if you are in debt. Again, that's why I was able to come home. Now, we don't have a huge income on my side, but things were set up, and they still are set up. Now, what's helping us here, even if there's an economic collapse, we grow our own food. So the majority of the food we eat, I grow. I'm looking at some now. I've got it stashed to the wall in every room in the house. It's hard work. It's tough work. And I could not stay at work growing the amount of food I grow now. There was no way. I could not put it up, grow it, preserve it, and maintain it. I couldn't. I had all of my stuff in place. That's huge before I come home. And the reason I keep saying before I come home is because you need to look at your job. Guys, it could be temporary, but we'll get to that in a second. All of my stuff that were heavy, high-dollar projects like chicken coops, animal pens, buying the stuff, raised garden beds, tiller, tractor, things like that. Now, the tractor's passed down too. Everything I've got's passed down. That's why, I don't need new stuff. And I'm very fortunate that it was able to be passed down, like Dad's old tractor he don't want anymore. Stuff like that, I'm very, very, very fortunate. A lot of people are not in that situation. But I had all the high dollar stuff done before I came home. There again, paid in cash, done, ready, go. Okay? When you go and grow your own food, you are putting money on the table. You're making money, you're saving money. Guys, groceries is the number one thing people complain about. The number one thing, and I get it because I'm right there with you, because we still have to buy stuff, but the number one thing that we have knocked down, whittled down, is a grocery bill. And it's so vitally important. You need to grow what you like to eat. You need to grow food that will sustain you. You need to grow something easy to preserve that does not take 5,000 ingredients to make a marmalade. You need to be growing regular stuff. I've said that from day one. If you're set up fine and you've got room to play and you've got time to spare, then grow something funky and crazy. But in the meantime, you need to grow your basics if you're just getting into this and you're worried. See, we're at the end of summer. A lot of y'all can't grow. We can still grow here in Alabama, but a lot of y'all can't. You can grow fall crops. You can put stuff on the table that will fill you up, like cabbage. Broccoli, guys, you're not going to get a good harvest. You're not going to get a lot off that. You're not going to get a lot off of cauliflower. Beets, possibly, and that's a natural sugar. Radishes, kale. Kale is a huge thing. Kale will last a winter's snow for my people up north. We got Idaho on here. We got all sorts of places. Kale will last. Now, I don't know how much snow. I know it'll last a couple of inches, okay? Dinosaur kale. Things like that are sustainable to keep those bills down. Now, let's get on the job. And the reason I'm telling you all this is because when I left work, that's no different than if somebody had lost a job unexpectedly. I cannot imagine. Now, I chose to come home. But what I'm saying is, though, not having a job in the picture, I can talk about this. But we had time to prepare. I cannot imagine if somebody did not have time to prepare and you lose a job. A, medical problems. B, your job, you're replaced, okay? At your job, you're fired. C, your job is whittling down, your place of employment is whittling down jobs to cut back and save money. And that happened in, 2008? Around that time, there was a lot of layoffs everywhere. You do not want to live in fear of losing your job continuously. And if it is, please don't let it be over a house payment, guys. The majority of people that I know that are my age are living in $300,000, at least $300,000 plus homes at a very young age, even younger than me, okay? That's not what I would do personally, but I'm not giving you advice. I live in an old farmhouse. A lot of y'all probably would not even want to live here, okay? So, but to me, it's fine. It's fine. So, but a lot of people, it does not meet their standards. But my standard is I'd rather have freedom to come home and do what I want and not be strapped in debt. I don't know how many people I've worked with that one spouse was paying the house payment. They said, hey, girl, I've got to work. I've got to work to pay my house bill. Or you would stroke out. They knew I was a penny pincher. I'd bring my lunch every day. Everybody else would buy theirs. Or a lot of times I'd bring my lunch. Sometimes I wouldn't. Just things like that to cut corners. I've always lived frugally because I don't want to spend money on that kind of stuff. I'd, again, rather have freedom. But if there's an economic collapse, there's going to be less freedom for everybody. It's going to affect some worse and some hard. I'm kind of like the people in Appalachia where it talks about in the Foxfire book, which we are at the tip of Appalachia. They never knew the Depression hit them, is what a lot of them said, because they were so poor to begin with. They didn't know the difference. That's how kind of we live. And guys, what we have put our money into, us personally, I know people say, buy gold, buy silver, but do this, do that, do this, do that. I'm not about that. What I have done is I have personally put money into tangible items that are of use to me, that can be passed down, that can be resold, that are beneficial. For instance, mason jars. I use those. I use them to can. They'll always be here, okay? If they're well taken care of, they will last a very, very, very long time, and they are of use. Those mason jars sitting there on my shelf, 20 cases, I don't know how much, a couple $100, $200 or less, if you get them at the right price, around $200. That's more valuable than me having $200 at this point in time because it's something I will use. Cast iron is another thing. I've got it sitting on my table here. I use cast iron day in and day out. Purchases like that you do not have to buy a lot of oil for, or this non-stick spray. I've talked about that anyways. We don't use that. There's silicone in it, okay? I don't want to put that on my food. I use stuff like cast iron that's durable, that will last till the end if it's taken care of, well taken care of. If you do splurge, what I have done personally, if I do splurge, it's on antiques that may be of some higher value at some point in time. Instead of going and buying, just say, an IKEA cabinet, what's the resale value on that compared to an antique Hoosier? Do you see what I'm saying? The choices you make, even when you have money to buy, even any purchase, can it be resold? You see these molds behind me. People pay good money for that. Can it be resold? Is it of any value? It's kind of like looking at the blue book on a car, the blue book value. Is it going to last? Is it going to hold up? Can you resell it? Now, if there's an economic collapse, people aren't going to be buying this kind of stuff. They're not. Everything will always rebound, though. Throughout history, it has. Most of the time, I would say. Things will rebound. You can get your money back. Books. Now, that's of no resale value. That's like a car. The day you drive it off the lot, it's worthless, okay? Or a whole lot less valuable. But where are you it's not all about currency. How much value is it putting here, okay? So books, I have bought, I've stocked up on. And what I have done is gotten books on the Great Depression. I told y'all to get a book by Studs Terkel, and it's it's called The Worst Hard Times. And it interviews all walks of life, male, female, children, old, whoever, all across the U.S., how the Great Depression was, and the recession in the 70s, and how people lived through it. And guys, I'm telling you, they lay you a blueprint of exactly what will happen more than likely, and what they lived through, and what they did, and what they did to cut corners. You need to have stuff on hand like that to learn if you're interested. That's what I have done, okay? That's how I've prepared for the economic collapse, and if it ever happens, it may never happen. Who knows? It very well may Monday. Who knows, okay? Who knows? But I'm prepared for it either way. Last but not least, look around your house and see what you can resell, like at a yard sale. Get rid of the clutter. Get rid of stuff like that. Guys, I would have stuff like linens. I would have things that are of use to me if you did have to go off-grid. What's more important? Having 500 pieces of artwork or having 500 pieces of cloth that you could use to scrub stuff. Do you see what I'm saying here? You have to look at more of a survival mode, because that's how a lot of these people in the Great Depression were. Survival mode may not be for a recession, but it still may help you save money to get through it, if that makes any sense. That's just what we've done. Waste not, want not. Reuse, 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 okay? Try to eliminate stuff like buying aluminum foil if you can. Maybe you don't need that. It would be more beneficial to you to buy a bowl with a lid on it that you can wash over and over than buy aluminum foil each week. You see what I'm saying? You've got to look at the long term on this kind of stuff and live frugal. That's what we've done. We have lived so frugal. Now, again, with this house renovation, we're spending a good bit of money. Slow and easy, okay? And that's what we're doing. It's probably not the most optimal time. Prices are high on this stuff, but it is what it is. We don't know how the economic pendulum will swing. We don't know if it'll be better in a year. We don't know 10 years. We don't know what it'll do, okay? Debt free is what we have done. We've got items on hand. And guys, live frugally. That's harder. It sounds so easy, but it's harder than it seems. It's very hard. You've got to look at where your money's going. Can you cut out unnecessary bills like Apple each month, unlimited music? If you use that, I was always raised on the principle, if you use it, go for it. Keep it. But if you don't use it, it's time to get rid of it. Amazon Prime, do you use that regularly, or did you sign up for it 3 years ago for something to be shipped quickly and you haven't used it since? You may want to get rid of it. Magazines being sent by mail. Magazines. At one point, I had signed up for years ago. Southern Living, Better Homes and Gardens, things like that. It was of no use to me, okay? And that stuff's expensive. And you have to call and cancel for a lot of these subscriptions or send something in, so don't let that trick you either. Even newspaper subscriptions online. Be careful about this stuff. You can get this stuff free at other places. Look at where you can cut out costs and go on and start cleaning out kind of your costs, okay? See what you've got on hand. If you have a house payment that takes your entire check and it is just because you wanted that certain style house, guys, I can't help you there, okay? We just live in a very old, simple home. If you can't, and if you're worried about the financial situation, you may live in a house way above what any of us would ever imagine. You may have to work solely for that house, and that may be what you want. That may be all you care about, okay? That's fine. I just don't think that's really the prepper mindset here that we're all kind of going for. We're stocking up. We are continuing to stock up food continuously because that's our number one bill outside of power. That's our number one bill. Look back through our videos. We've done, I don't know how many frugal videos. You can get ideas from a lot of YouTube shorts, how to save money. Money saving tip of the day is what I called them. And I did them all year last year. Everything from not using toilet paper all the way down to not using aluminum foil. Not buying certain fertilizers, not doing X, Y, and Z. I've shown you all this that you can use. Try to think old-fashioned lifestyle. All right, guys, that's how we have prepared for the economic collapse. If it ever so happens, it may never happen. We'll see you next time on Harmon Homestead.